So again, bear with me. God really came into my life, only how I can describe. Have you seen the program DIY SOS? I really feel like God just sort of came in and went, this wallpaper's terrible. We're going to rip it out and I'm going to stick something new in there. But before I tell you how he changed that wallpaper, I've got to give you an idea of how bad this wallpaper was. So growing up, I had quite a turbulent childhood. My mum wasn't very well. She had multiple physical illnesses and mental illnesses. I became a young carer, and mum was like in and out of hospital on like life support machines, and mentally just wasn't coping, and therefore I mentally wasn't coping. So at the age of 12, my school found out that I was self-harming. And they said, right, well, we need to do something about that. And after lots of months of being put into lots of different meetings, they said, you need to move out of home. So I moved in with my grandparents and my dad. And that was a wonderful transition because I was just brought into such a loving environment. But equally, it was tough. I was 12 years old. I was trying to figure out all the teenage things that happen. And suddenly my life was flipped upside down. And my physical health and my mental health suffered for that. So I was in and out of hospital with an underlying connective tissue disorder. That was fun to find out. Gastroparesis, so my stomach stopped working. I had a nasogastric tube for 1.5 years. And my mental health suffered. So I was diagnosed with OCD, depression, and eventually an eating disorder. And that spanned from, the age of 12 to, even like 2022. But as I went through my teenage years, my physical health got better, and that was great. So I went into sixth form, and I finally had this group of friends. I've been in and out of school. I hadn't managed to find a friend group, and I had this great group of friends, and we drank way too much. And it was lovely, and I finally felt like I was fitting in. I'd reinvented myself in sixth form. And 3 weeks after my 18th birthday, I went to a house party with my friends, which was a normal thing. And I was sexually assaulted by my best friend. And it broke me. I couldn't bath, I was bathing all the time. I didn't go out. I lost all my friends because they decided they didn't want to side with anyone. And in not doing that, it kind of sided with him. So I was just alone, and I felt like that was my life. I just wasn't going to get past that. And I did. And in 2019, I met someone, and it was wonderful. It brought me out of my shell again. I started a business with him. I started landing acting roles, and it was amazing. And I thought, yes, okay, this is my life. I'm going to get married to this man. We're going to have loads of babies. It's all going to be great. It's a dream life. And it really was. For 5 years, we had a wonderful life together. But as I was growing, something just didn't feel right. And it was in 2023, I felt a call to go to church. And Denise, who is my great aunt over there, I'm going to call her out, hello. I said to her, I knew she was like in with God. So I said, can I go to church with you? And she went, yeah, of course. And I remember standing in the church, I think it was Little Munden. And she said, I think God's calling you. He's knocking on your door. And I thought, all right, I'm going to take the back door then. Like, I don't care. So I'm going to prove this whole religion thing wrong. And that was it. I didn't go back to church, and my relationship started to break down. And again, I just felt really alone, and it felt like this reoccurring theme in my life. And I thought, am I just destined to just be lonely? And we broke up, and my mental health, again, plummeted. Eating disorder flared back up. It was a nightmare. And the night before I decided I was going to call it quits for good, I saw this TikTok video, because I was scrolling through social media, as I do quite a lot. And it said, I made a password with God. I thought, well, in for a penny, in for a pound. Let's give it a try. So it's the first time I prayed. I said, right, God, if you're real and you're there, and I'm going to be okay, and I'm going to meet someone who just really loves me and respects me and just wants to be with me. And I did also throw the thing in about, please let that be a husband, not just you. You're great, but I kind of do want to have kids at some point. Then show me 3 octopuses in a row. Because when do you ever see an octopus? Like, ever? I thought, I'm not going to any aquariums. I'm going to let him do it. And anyway, I went and broke up with my partner at the time, and obviously was quite upset. And my nan said, right, come on, we're going to go out shopping, we'll blow the cobwebs away. So the day after I broke up with him, we went to Dunelm in Harlow, had a lovely sandwich, and I said to her, you know, Nan, I've made this password with God, but it's a bit silly, isn't it? And she went, well, see what happens. And we went downstairs, and the first thing we saw were 3 octopus coat hooks in a row, followed by 3 octopus cushions, and everywhere we went that day, there were octopuses. And still, I promise you, to this day, I see 3 octopuses every day. Incredible. He is so good. And life just became so much infinitely better, and it was hard, and being a Christian is not easy. And to anyone that I've met, they go, oh, I might become a Christian. I'm like, yeah, it's going to be really hard, and it's going to be the best thing you ever do. And God has just flipped everything around. I worked a lot in acting in independent horror films. That was my first job I booked. It was a zombie film. I was a terrible zombie, by the way. Awful. And suddenly I'm working on these amazing projects, and I'm working with Christian touring companies, going into prisons, doing prison ministry, and working with sex offenders. And I thought, how incredible that he decided, of all people, he wanted me to know what it was like to be on the other side of that, and to still be able to go in. I did a tour of the hiding place about Corrie ten Boom, and this, oh gosh, the scene where she shakes this man's hand after everything she's been through in concentration camps. And then the next day I went into a prison, and these sex offenders were coming up to us and shaking our hands. I thought, yeah, he's so intentional and so great. And yeah, life is just, and I felt, sorry, I'm mumbling now. I felt so lonely for so long, and I prayed and prayed and prayed that I would just have a friend group. I would just have a place that I felt like I belonged. And then that bunch over there, there's loads of them missing today, but you guys in general just came in, and I have a life now. I go out, I see people. We have a group chat we're always in, and poor Jade and Denise are just like constantly inundated with messages. And life actually feels like it's worth living. I actually want to be around, and God is just there all the time, and he's amazing. So if there's anyone that's in doubt that God is incredible, he really is, and he loves you. And even on your worst possible day where you turn away from him and say, Lord, I don't want you, he loves you exactly the same as your best day. He's just amazing, and I know you all know that. And yeah, thank you for having me.